The Crypto Markets Update is presented by Grayscale, the world's largest digital currency asset manager.
Joining us now to discuss the crypto markets is Rufus Round, CEO of UK-based digital asset broker GlobalBlock. Hello there, Rufus. So was this predictable to you, Rufus?
Well, markets are very hard to predict in general, but I think the trend last week was a deleveraging by fast money. I think if you looked at some of the big tech names in the NASDAQ, they got sold off a bit last week, and apparently attributable to hedge fund degrossing. And that spins off a bit into Bitcoin and crypto assets. You have to remember that fast money reacts quickly to events like Omicron and tapering and Chairman Powell perhaps being a little more bearish for the markets.
Yeah, Rufus, as Emily alluded to, she and I have a kind of a long-standing debate here over the role of the likes of the Fed in the crypto market specifically. There was this rumor that was circulating in the markets, at least in the crypto markets, that some of the sell-off was precipitated by more concerns about what's going on in the Chinese capital market, specifically when it comes to real estate commercial paper. So, how much of if you could break it down, how much of a percentage would you really say macroeconomic issues plays into the movement of the likes of Bitcoin, particularly over the past weekend, when compared to these sort of idiosyncratic issues that happen here for instance, like with what's related to what's going on with China, because there's a belief that there's at least a connection when it comes to stable coins.
Well, I think in the short term, markets are very driven by macro events, whether they are normal, traditional investment markets or crypto markets. If you're a trader, you want to deploy your capital where you're going to get the most bang for your buck and the quickest return on your money. And volatility is what traders thrive on. Crypto is full of volatility, as we've seen again over the weekend. So whether you're trading the S&P or Apple or futures on commodities, you're going to go where you think the best risk reward is at that time. And you can't escape that in crypto in the short term.
So just following up on that question, part of the myth of Bitcoin is that it's this really unique asset, and it can kind of, it serves a different purpose from the stock market. But is that really true? Because it's not really acting that way. I mean, it's definitely not acting like a safe haven. Do you think that myth still holds ground?
Oh, it definitely holds ground. It's 100% a completely different beast to the stock market. However, it does attract leveraged, fast money. And because of its volatility, as I just described. So you can't escape the short-term gyrations. But in the long term, Bitcoin, there are plenty of reasons for the macroeconomic case and the raison d'etre of Bitcoin to very much succeed. It's got increasing adoption, increasing investment. Its code keeps getting upgraded. We had Taproot a few weeks ago. There's every reason to keep hodling, in my view.
Reflecting
on
on
this question shouldn't be controversial, but for some reason people have different opinions about it. Are we technically in a bear market now?
Well, it's not controversial if you take 20% peak to trough move as your definition of a bear market, but I think crypto needs different rules for that. So if we're following the normal stock market rules, you might want to go that way, but you might want to categorize it that way. I'm hearing a lot of chat in the crypto market about this support being a decent level to test, and it's holding it quite well. But crypto markets and crypto commentators would say that generally, I would think. But time will tell. I think there is every reason still in the broader macroeconomic picture to hodl, to accumulate. We still got way out of control emergency interest rate policy. They're talking about tapering, but they're still buying assets. The amount of negative yielding government debt in the world is phenomenal. The amount of fiat currency that's been printed in the last 10 months, thanks to the pandemic, has exceeded that printed over many years. We have government restrictions coming in again, possible furlough schemes arising. The setup is uniquely fantastic for crypto again.
Well, Rufus, reflecting on the catalyst behind this latest retreat, could it be that people are taking profits for the holidays and that's what's triggering liquidations?
Absolutely. It's had a great run this year. Let's not forget. Plenty of volatility at where did it sell off from? 56,000, 57,000 over the weekend. That's still a phenomenal run. And if you want to lock in profits ahead of your year, that's not a bad place to do it, I would suppose. I think, generally speaking, though, the absence of a Santa rally or an overt Santa rally is perplexing some people. But there's still time.
Was the market over-leveraged given its volatility?
Oh, it's a very good question. But I mean, it's over-levered if you're forced out. Basically, the great thing about this asset is that no one's needed a bailout yet. Okay, even when we had the initial COVID reaction where the asset class halved, nobody needed a Fed bailout or a banking bailout. Plenty of people lost money, but that all happened in orderly fashion.
Rufus, where do we go from here?
Well, my favorite setup is sideways consolidation into the super cycle. So let's see. I don't see why the macroeconomic picture would change. I see the gold market cap as a target for crypto market cap for Bitcoin, which is we're up to 10x from here over the next year or so. Plenty of reasons to be bullish.
Recently we've actually seen an interesting trend where Ether and Bitcoin have kind of been parting ways and performing differently. How would you explain that?
Well, the DeFi market is huge in Ethereum, and so you've probably got an enormously more diverse developer base. So as the DeFi market explodes, more comes into Ethereum. And I think that the wider use cases of Ethereum give people cause for a talk about flippening, but they are completely different assets. And Rufus, I think the comparison is not always correct.
End of year price target for Bitcoin.
End of year price target for Bitcoin. Let's go for 75K. How about that?